It often starts with small moments, doesn't it? The sigh when you try to set a boundary, the wave of guilt that washes over you when you finally say no, the quiet, subtle manipulation that makes you question your own worth, your own sanity. And because it's family, you tolerate it. You tell yourself it's just how they are, because they're blood. You convince yourself that love means enduring, that it means putting up with things you wouldn't accept from anyone else. But I need you to hear this, really hear this. Family is not an excuse for emotional harm. Respect is the absolute foundation of all genuine love. Without it, connection warps into control, and love becomes an obligation. Every time you excuse cruelty, even a small act, you are teaching your own nervous system that pain is a normal part of relationships. Every time you swallow your words to keep the peace, you're not creating peace. You're starting a war inside your own soul. And over time, that silence becomes a part of your identity. You start to lower your expectations. You stop looking for reciprocity, for that give and take that healthy relationships have. You begin to call survival loyalty. You confuse your incredible endurance with love. But your body keeps the score. It never forgets. That constant low-level anxiety becomes the background music of your life. You find yourself replaying conversations late at night, picking them apart, wondering, was it me? Am I the problem? No, you're not the problem. You are just someone who was taught to tolerate what should have been confronted from the very beginning. In psychology, there's a term for this, enmeshment. It's what happens when personal boundaries dissolve in the name of family closeness. Suddenly, you feel responsible for everyone else's emotions, but you're completely disconnected from your own. You become a master at anticipating someone's anger before it even happens. You learn to walk on eggshells, constantly adjusting your behavior, your words, your very presence, just to avoid conflict. This isn't empathy. This is an emotional survival strategy. Many children who grow up in volatile homes become adults who tolerate disrespect because somewhere deep down in their subconscious, chaos feels familiar. It feels like home. And that is exactly why setting boundaries can feel so mean or selfish when you first start doing it. You feel like you're doing something wrong, but they're not an act of cruelty. They are an act of detoxification for your soul. So let's get specific. Let's name these behaviors clearly, because awareness is the first step toward liberation. These are the things you must never tolerate, not even from family. First, emotional manipulation. This includes guilt trips, the silent treatment, or love that is given and taken away based on your compliance. Love should never be a reward for good behavior. Second, the blatant disrespect of your boundaries. This is when your no is not heard as a final answer, but as the start of a negotiation. They push, they wheedle, they try to wear you down until you give in. Third, consistent criticism that is disguised as concern. I'm only saying this because I love you is often a cover for tearing you down. Genuine concern builds you up. It doesn't leave you feeling small and incompetent. Fourth, gaslighting. This is one of the most insidious. It's when your memories, your feelings, and your experiences are dismissed, denied, or completely rewritten. They make you question your own reality, your own mind. Fifth, any form of control through money, guilt, or a sense of obligation. Using finances or past favors to control your decisions is not love, it's leverage. And finally, a chronic lack of accountability. This is when apologies either never come or they always come with an excuse. I'm sorry, but you is not an apology. It's just another way of shifting the blame. These behaviors do more than just hurt your feelings. They systematically destroy your self-trust. They erode your fundamental sense of safety in the world. And they teach you to doubt your own perception, which is perhaps the most dangerous kind of conditioning there is. So why do we stay silent? Why do we put up with it for so long? The answer, in one word, is guilt. Guilt is the invisible leash that keeps you tethered to dysfunction. You're told, directly or indirectly, that setting boundaries makes you selfish, ungrateful, or disrespectful to your elders. But you have to understand this. Guilt is not always a reliable moral compass. Sometimes it's a manipulation tool. True, healthy guilt arises when you have actually harmed someone. False, toxic guilt arises when you stop letting someone harm you. You must learn to tell the difference, because you do not owe anyone access to your life, to your energy, to your peace, just because you share DNA. Healing truly begins the moment you stop defining love as endurance. The moment you realize that love isn't about how much you can take. Real love allows for individuality. It honors and respects differences of opinion. It does not demand that you shrink yourself to make others feel comfortable. Let me say that again. Loyalty without respect is just submission. Forgiveness without any accountability or changed behavior is a form of self-betrayal. And showing compassion without maintaining your own boundaries is how you slowly disappear. You can love someone from the bottom of your heart and still protect yourself from their harmful behavior. That isn't cruelty. That is emotional maturity. You are not cold for protecting your peace. You are not cruel for choosing silence over constant chaos. And you are not broken for wanting distance from people who refuse to grow or respect you. Think of boundaries not as walls you're building to keep people out, but as doors with locks. And you, and only you, get to decide who has the key. The psychologist Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." You cannot become your true self while you are constantly performing for an audience that refuses to see the real you. So the next time someone, even a parent, a sibling, a cousin, crosses your limits, remember this simple truth. Love without respect is a cage. It may be a gilded cage, decorated with memories and obligation, but it is a cage nonetheless. Step out of it, heal, take a deep breath, and begin the sacred, beautiful work of becoming whole. And remember, you don't lose people when you set boundaries. You lose the version of yourself that tolerated the intolerable. And that, my friend, is a loss worth celebrating. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this resonated, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content on healing and self-respect. Take care.